Calling All Authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast, hosted by Robert A. Lane, is on the air, featuring everything you need to know about narrating your own audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. From special guests, including authors and professionals from the book industry, to sharing tools and techniques needed to be a confident and compelling narrator. The journey starts now. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
Always appreciate you joining us for another edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. And the one thing that I really love doing in regards to this podcast is when I have guests. And not only when I have guests, but when I have guests that are in studio, because it's something that doesn't happen very often, but it's great to actually have the authors here to speak with, because it just creates a whole different vibe and energy. And of course, those of you who are hearing the podcast that is audio only, you're going to feel that energy. You're going to feel it. So I want to welcome my very special guest, Ksenia Merck. Ksenia, welcome to the Your Voice podcast in person.
In person. Robert, it's so good to be here. Thank you so very much for having me here.
I love it. I'm just really, really happy that you're here. We're celebrating the second book that you've done narration for as an audiobook, so you want to be a leader. So we're going to talk a lot about that book today. And I do want to touch a little bit on Ghost Flower, because that was the first one that you've done, and that's a fantastic book as well. And yeah, this is just really, really exciting. So welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
And so this book, So You Want to Be a Leader. Now, this was written by your husband, William Merck.
Yes.
And what's great is I love storytelling. And Bill does such a great job of sharing his personal stories about leadership. Is there something in the book, maybe a story or two that really stood out to you that really exemplifies leadership? Is there a particular story you can think of?
Well, there are several stories, and Bill was a fantastic storyteller, and so that's why it was so important for him to write. This was his first book, and he included so many stories. And really, it's a book about what not to do as you are a leader. It's chock full of stories of real life examples. His secrets of a lifetime of success in his 50-year career. 50-year career. So it's huge. But there are several stories, but one story in particular. And what was so important for me is that to record this as part of our Merck to Press collection is that I could hear his voice, and it was important for me to be able to say and to tell these stories because I had experienced a lot of these stories with him. Some of them I hadn't, but some of them I did, and so it was especially great for me to be able to tell these stories in his voice, for his voice. And but there's one story in particular, and what is amazing to me and the timing of this, of course, I'm recording this in his office. Yeah. And so I'm getting those vibes from him as I'm doing this. But there was one story about having plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, and how you may have a certain plan to execute, but as a leader, you need to be resourceful and nimble to go to plan B. And if plan B doesn't work, you go to plan C. And then if that doesn't work, you go to plan D. And what's interesting to me is that story was so powerful because in my day job, I had to do just that. Literally 2 weeks after I recorded that, I was in a situation where I had to respond to my client with plan A. That was not working. Plan B, plan C. And so that right there is, to me, very, very important as a leader to be able to get to the right solution.
So when it comes to plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, maybe even a plan E,
yes.
How do you, because you maybe have a plan A, and then maybe you have a plan B. But then, is it like flying by the seat of your pants? I mean, or is it just taking it uh, with logical steps to find a solution of resolving whatever issue that you need to resolve?
Well, I think a major point is that you have to really know the system that you're working within, and then you can find maybe what is a possibility for plan B, plan C, plan D. But you really have to understand the environment that you're in, the system that you're working in, because that will play into, is your solution viable or not?
Mm-hmm. Right. That makes a lot of sense. Um, and really understanding, I think, and this is what I get from the book is, like you say, understanding like the big picture.
Yes.
What is the goal? What is the goal
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be reached? And always having that in mind. So
Mm-hmm.
so then I think that helps you come up with options, with the options that you
Mm-hmm.
need to be able to reach this one goal. And the story that's told in the book is a great one because it's like, okay, we need to get this project done,
Mm-hmm.
and they're telling us it's not going to happen. Well, we have to make it happen. We have a deadline. I mean, there
Yes.
is no
Yes.
wiggle room to to get out of there. So yeah, that I think understanding the big picture
Yes.
is really really important.
Absolutely. That total context of your environment.
Yeah.
And that is really huge.
And I think that actually that's a good story to bring up again with whether you're in a corporate setting or maybe it's a personal setting or a personal goal, and there are things that you want to achieve and you want to reach. Uh, and this is why I think your book is or this book is so valuable, is that you can apply it to business, you can apply it to your personal life. Being a leader is taking charge, or maybe I don't know if charge sounds kind of, but like being in control
Hmm.
of your destiny in a
Yes,
sense.
yes. And one of the things that Bill has always said is that, you create the environment that controls you.
Mm,
So that is in this book. And I think that that is an important concept because you're building a team that then is going to, all of you lead together. And so you're creating that environment. And so that is really important as a leader, too.
and I think that um, the other thing that there's so many like really good stories in here.
Yes.
There's one that did come to mind that he was talking about when he was in the military about being sent to an area while they were making his off or preparing his office, where he had
Yes.
to pick a desk, and the other officers, which I think he was higher
He
rank
was
than
he
it.
was he came in as the ranking officer.
Right, right. And I mean, I think that's really a great story because I think people also need to understand that when you're in a position of leadership, you will be challenged. And how
Hmm.
you handle these challenges is really a defining factor of a good leader and
Hmm.
someone who is not a good leader or not
Hmm.
experienced. Can you maybe expand a little bit on that?
Well, I think in the case of that story, Bill was coming in as the lead officer, and others had been in this office compound longer. He came in. There was like a paper nameplate that changed. He changed the desk. He took the office. He asserted himself as the ranking officer in the space. And that sends a message about a hierarchy. And that was a military environment. So that was especially important there because he was not going to, even though someone had been there longer, he was the ranking officer and he was taking charge and coming in to lead. That was his purpose. So, in that moment, I think being assertive was the right thing to send the message that he was the leader and he was taking charge of that unit.
Yeah, and and it's interesting because he does mention something about uh, feeling tested or being tested about
Hmm.
his leadership and his rank. And you're right, in the military, that is super, super
Yes,
important.
yes.
Um, there's so many really good stories. There's stories about, what happens if you have to, give a deposition. What happens? How should you uh, conduct yourself in press situations, or how do you handle yourself if, let's say, the company you're working for, there's some kind of rumors or something that may be bad or a bad representation where reporters are always looking for that little nugget of
Of bad.
of bad.
They're looking for nuggets of bad, and I think that you know uh, with the media, I think there's always, if you're being interviewed, the point in the book is to be very careful
Yeah,
about what you're saying and to really think through, because someone else may take that nugget that is not so favorable and expand on it. So, um, in a media situation, I don't think as Bill expresses, the interviewer's not your friend. You
right.
know what I mean? They're not your buddy right then. So you have to be careful about how you're representing the situation.
Agree 100%. There's one thing that was mentioned that it really resonated with me. And thinking back when I was working at 20th Century Fox, there was this big corporation and all that. And this was something that I felt was lacking, at least in the department I worked in. Uh, but he hit on it. And that's something that I really, really believe in. And that is that when you have a team of people together, you really need to understand what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and you play to their strengths. And you do things to help support and build on the things that maybe they're not as strong. And I think that is such an incredibly important concept that anybody in any type of leadership position, from
Mm-hmm.
CEO down to, just a manager, or
Mm-hmm.
you need to understand that. Uh, because what I experience and what I feel is when you play to someone's strength, what that does is it feels like that employee feels they're supported, that they're supported from the higher ups,
Mm-hmm.
which makes that person feel more loyal and doing their best because they know that
Mm-hmm.
they have that support.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Yes, and I think that Bill, as a leader, was excellent at really seeing the strength in a person and allowing them and creating that opportunity for that person to excel, because he knew that would be better for the person but also the team. So, as a leader, to me, there's a chapter in here about being a mentor,
Mm.
and as a
Hmm.
leader you are a mentor because you're showing an example. And if part of your example is to promote people, that's a great thing,
Hmm.
because you're going to receive back the the best of that. And that really helps the organization. So if you're promoting people, encouraging them, you know, gaining the best of them, it helps the entire group to all of it push forward. And he was masterful at lifting people up, and I think that that is so important as a leader. And so he did that through his entire career.
And there are other really great concepts. Again, I'm going to show the book here. I know you see it in the background behind Ksenia, but so you want to be a leader, you got to get this book. It's on Amazon. You can get the paperback version. There's the ebook version, of course,
Hmm.
and then the audiobook version. I mean,
Yes,
it's really, really great.
and soon to be a workbook.
And so,
And soon to be a workbook.
good, good,
And soon to
good.
be a workbook
All
too.
right, all right.
Yes, we're
Yes.
working on that because there are so many great concepts in here that I just think it's important for it's going to be a great tool for leaders to really analyze themselves to
Mhm.
become a better leader.
Mhm.
And I think that that's what Bill's purpose here is to help people. And so I'm continuing that with Merck 2 Press.
And let's talk about another concept in here about competition or about um, like there's this thing about when someone's in the same business, let's say that you are. Uh, what are some of Bill's concepts in regards to are you always competing against each other or can you work together to lift each other up? Because I know people, are like, oh, well, I'm not gonna, they're my competitor. And I never got that vibe from this book of like this, competition, competition, competition. Like you say about lifting people up. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter, uh, whether they're in the same business or not. You can help each other out and help each
Hmm.
other succeed. Can you expand a little bit on that
Sure.
concept?
I think that I think that Bill was great at collaboration.
Ah, yes, yes,
And
yes.
and that is truly my experience now. I'm collaborating with him now after he has passed. We are collaborating. But I think that was a huge strength of his of collaboration, and that would be within the organization and with external entities to, bridge, to collaborate, to gain momentum, to use all of that to foster ideas within the organization. So to me, collaboration, not competition. And that's how I would characterize what Bill did in his career.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like you say, it's about helping people. And there was another story that he was sharing about funds from like one department to another, and how
Mm-hmm.
people like, wow, no, this is our money, our fund for our department, But it's like again, as a leader, looking at things in the big picture. What is the best thing for the entire company or business?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if that means, making some adjustments with departments within the
Mm-hmm.
organization,
Mm-hmm.
that uh, people need to
Mm-hmm.
embrace that.
Yes. And I think this is where Bill, in his position in universities as a vice president, would see different things. Bill was interested in his role was VP for administration and finance and CFO, but he was interested in all the departments. He was interested in the big picture of how the entire campus worked. And so he would give tours, on these tours for incoming faculty, students, um, and he would see different things, and then he would look and say, oh, that really needs some help. And he would
Mm.
look within his organization to see how he could, with his resources, help that department. And I think that is huge, because did he have to do that?
No.
No. But look at the benefit, and look at the example of sharing and contributing and collaboration. So to me, those are the kind of things that we should do if we're in a position where we can help.
And there's one thing that was a really interesting concept that Bill had talked about, and I thought was a very, very important thing. Um, and that is, maybe you can tell a little bit more about the story. Uh, when a department was being shut down and people were losing their jobs, what did Bill do about that?
Well, several things. He basically encouraged them to apply for other positions, or said, "Hey, there's an opening. You might want to look in this other department because there might be a need there." So he was resourceful in looking at how people could be placed in other units or in other new corporations that were coming in. So he really looked forward, not just that this was an immediate change, but how to help people bridge to another department or entity. So he was mindful about where people would land.
And I think that's great. And again, there's so much value in this book, uh, and that is something that again really is a testament to the type of person
Hmm.
that Bill was. He didn't have to help people find work somewhere else. It's like, this department is closing and you guys are going to be out of a job. See ya. Some people,
Hmm.
are like that. But because he has a heart, he, and people may think, oh, well, he's going above and beyond. But I don't think so. I think that's really what really embraces what a leader
Hmm.
should be,
Hmm.
is taking care of the people.
Absolutely. And he was, that was very, very important to him. All the people that not only reported up through to him, but for example, in a university setting, he cared about people and he cared about where they were working and the conditions they were working in. And that is hugely important because he really understood the big picture of the environment. And it wasn't just about his group. He was really concerned about people in general. And he did the right thing for people. He cared about people. And to me that is just huge. And he took responsibility for his decisions, and that's very important
Yeah.
as a leader. So there are several concepts in here about integrity, mentoring, and being responsible as a leader and taking responsibility for your decisions is huge. As a leader, you must do that in this book, and I wholeheartedly believe everything that he has written because it's in his heart and soul and mine as well to do the right thing. So that's what he has shown here in this book.
And how has your experience been so far narrating these books?
Well, Robert, I can tell you that it's certainly a new experience for me. I've not done something like this before. It's been a great experience to work with you,
Thank you.
and I really appreciate your patience and guidance. But for me, there's another aspect of really maybe better. Um, it's different when you read something versus when you hear something. And so this gets into how people learn. And for me, narrating these books has been a great experience because I'm honing in on different concepts, and maybe revisiting some of them in a new way. And it's so good. So it's a great experience, and I really thank you so much.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. And I think you're doing a fabulous job. You're
Well,
doing a
thank
fabulous
you.
job. Again, so you want to be a leader. Great book, really, really good stories. But with each story, of course, is a concept or or something that you can take away with you to be a better leader and a better human being.
Yes.
And the other thing that I definitely have to talk about is Ghost Flower, because this is another great book. If you love fiction, if you love science fiction, time travel,
Yes.
this is a great story about a group of people in present day. Well, even though it's 2035,
Hmm.
but that's okay. It's still
Yes.
we consider it
Yes.
present day. And there's a pandemic, and then they discover a way that might be able to create some kind of vaccine to,
Hmm.
and they go back in time. I mean, it's such a great story. So
Yes.
you got to get this one too. That's all I got to say. You got it's a great one. Um, Ksenia, again, great work, really fabulous books. I am very just impressed with the fact that you've taken on this project to narrate your husband's book and to preserve his legacy by having these books
Yes.
being heard, really, and it is coming from the source. It really is.
Yes.
And that's the best way. That is the best way to hear these. And I think you're doing a fabulous job. So
Thank
I want
you.
to thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
And of course, thank you for coming down to the studio here and doing this in person. That's
I
great.
think this is great. It's so good to meet you and see where all this action occurs because I know that you know your craft very, very well, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you. And of course, as always, the assignment for you is when you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger, say hello to them, give them a compliment. A small gesture of kindness can make the world a difference in somebody's life. So be a life changer, right? Don't always hide behind that mask. We all do. But maybe someone's having a bad day, or maybe it's a pain that they're hiding that's much deeply rooted. Be kind, say hello, give a smile, give a compliment. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Robert A. Lane. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Again, many thanks to my very special guest, Ksenia Merck. What I do want to do is, for those of you who are seeing the graphic, there is the website for you to find out more about Ghost Flow, or more about So You Want to Be a Leader, and then Breadcrumbs. That's another great book that will be, it's available, but we're doing the audiobook for that as well. Definitely go to Merck. It was Merck 2 Press, but it's MERCKIIPRESS.com. All right, my friends, thank you so much. You have a great week, and we'll be talking to you on the next edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode. And remember, only you can narrate your story the way it's meant to be heard.